Hello, everyone. I am with Jessie. And Jessie, if you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Jessie. I have three kids. My middle child, my daughter, who's almost 2, has Apert syndrome. We live in Aledo, Texas, right outside of Fort Worth, and we're just one big happy family.
So you're
Uh,
about 5.5, 6 hours from me. I'm in Hobbs, New Mexico.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Not too far. Yeah, I know where
yeah,
that
it's not far at all. So do you guys get your care in Fort Worth or do you guys go to Dallas?
We go to Dallas. We use Dr. Fearon in Dallas. Me and my husband are both physician assistants.
Oh, nice.
And when Presley was born, we had no idea that she had Apert syndrome until she was born. And immediately figured out that was what was going on before we even got the genetics back and started researching. And a lot of stuff about Dr. Fearon started popping up. And since he was an hour away,
Yes.
why
He
not?
is super close. Yes, exactly. And for us, we go to Lubbock. Emma's got a really good team in Lubbock, but I know that there's a bunch of the APERT community that uses him,
Yeah.
and I've heard
Well,
wonderful things.
me and my husband both went to Tech, so we're very familiar with Lubbock,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
very dear to our
Yes.
hearts.
Yes. That's where Emma goes. So yeah.
Great.
How many surgeries has Presley had so far?
She's only had to have 3 so far.
Oh,
She's had
nice.
2 on her hands and feet to do syndactyly release, and her uh, anterior frontal orbital advancement she had in January. And we already
Nice.
have plans for next year. We're going to give her a year off, and then her right ear tube already came out, so we'll get that put back in. And while she's under for that, there's 2 spots in her hands where they'd like to deepen the webs.
Yeah,
So we're going to go ahead and do that at the same time.
nice. And on her frontal orbital advancement, did you guys have to do the cranial vault or anything as well?
We did do a cranial vault. Yes. And she actually handled that one better than the hands and feet, which was so surprising and shocking. And I was so happy because I was much more worried about the head surgery for whatever reason. And
Yes,
she did amazing.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. What syndactyly type did she have?
She had type 3. She had rosebud hands, the most
Rosebuds.
hair. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she has 10 fingers and she uses them amazingly. She does everything. She feeds herself. That's her favorite thing to do.
Aw,
But she plays with all the toys that when she didn't have little fingers, she wanted to play with so bad. And now she can manipulate everything with them. It's amazing.
nice. With her toes, you said that she had her toes done as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you know, I know, so with Emma, we haven't had her toes done. And they're just kind of keeping an eye on her to make sure that her shoe wear and her walking isn't affected. And so far, it doesn't seem to be. Did they recommend doing the toes for functionality?
No, in fact, he really does it just for cosmetic reasons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he is very open about that. It's not going to really have any improvement and it won't hurt her function either. And he's like, while we're in there doing the hands, we just usually go ahead and do the
Might as
toes,
well.
knock it out. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, she's fine. She started walking about a month ago, which
I
is
saw
the most
that.
adorable thing I've ever seen.
I saw that on the video. She just popped up and off she
Yep.
went.
She pops up like that all the time. No adults can do it. We've all tried.
I noticed that she kind of went from butt scooting in that video to popping up.
Yep,
Did she butt scoot before?
She scooted everywhere.
Emma did that too.
Yeah. And sometimes when she first started walking, she was still, if she wanted to get somewhere quickly, she would go back to scooting.
Yes, Emma would do that. So did Presley skip crawling?
She did crawl. She did like a modified army crawl because, of course, she does not have full extension of her
Right.
arms. And she did crawl, but as soon as she figured out scooting, crawling was pretty obsolete after that. Scooting was much more efficient for her. She could go a
Yes.
lot faster. There wasn't the pounding on the elbows that we were hearing all over the house with the crawling. So it worked better for her.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So did she need any type of medical equipment, any feeding tubes or anything?
She did not need any of that. And I delivered her in Weatherford, Texas, which is a little town about 30 minutes outside of Fort Worth. It's the only place my OB delivers. And there's no NICU. It's very small. So when she was born, they tried to transfer her to Cook Children's in Fort Worth to the NICU,
Right.
and they wouldn't accept her. And I
Really?
think COVID played a huge role in that,
Oh,
because it was July of 2020. Um, she didn't necessarily need it. Because she was feeding and she was breathing on
right.
her own. That was their reasoning. But I do wonder if it wasn't in the heart of COVID, if they may have accepted her just for monitoring purposes.
Right. That might
The
have been.
staff at Weatherford was uh, very unprepared, and they had no answers, and they really wanted to give her to someone else.
Right.
But she was fine. They tried to send her twice. Cooks denied the transfer both times, and we were able to go home. And we were very, very fortunate not to have any issues with breathing or feeding after we got home.
That's fabulous. So you had her, you went home, and then where did your journey kind of go from there with setting up appointments with Dr. Farron and getting established?
Yeah, basically as soon as we got home, we called his office and talked to them. That's not true. First, we took her to her regular pediatrician, and she, of course, didn't know what was going on either.
Right.
She sent pictures of her hands and her feet to the hand surgeon at Cook's Children's, and she immediately said that most likely that's Aper syndrome. And so, just her giving us that reassurance, which we kind of had already figured, we called Dr. Farron's office, scheduled an appointment with him, and through his office, we've seen ear, nose, and throat doctor. She sees ophthalmology, and then she sees her regular pediatrician too.
That's awesome. So I have heard that about him, that it's basically like a one-stop shop
Yeah.
where you get all of your team is right there. And I don't know, I've heard a bunch of different things, so I don't know exactly how that works. So how does that work with his office? Does he have those people in the office, or is it
No,
just him?
it's just him in the office, and then he has the whole team of people that are at the Children's Medical Hospital in
Oh,
Dallas.
wow.
So it's very easy to bounce around through them. His office just is like, all right, you're gonna go see this ENT person and this person, and they set up everything for you. It's
That's
very nice.
cool.
And all
That
the other
makes it
doctors have
super
been
convenient.
wonderful. Yeah.
That is cool. I like that.
Yes, it's nice.
I love I love Emma's team, but now I'm just kind of like, I was like, wow, it's all right there.
And of course,
Um,
going to Dallas, that hospital is so huge and overwhelming, but now I feel comfortable, know exactly where I'm going for each doctor and get it
yes,
out.
that is so cool. Um, Tell me a little bit about once she was born, and the hospital being unprepared. How did they tell you that she had differences?
Well, as soon as she came out, my OB looked at me and said, she's got some deformities to her hands and feet, and handed her to me. So that was the first inkling that we knew that there was anything different. The pediatrician that was on call came in, and they took her to the nursery to evaluate her, and then the pediatrician came in and uh, kind of painted a very bad picture of what the future was going to be for her. And she couldn't say, I don't know what's wrong.
Right.
She just couldn't say those words, which is really what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Instead, she said, this might happen and this might happen. She's probably going to need a feeding tube. She's probably going to be deaf. She's probably going to be blind. And blindness and deafness is not associated with Aper's syndrome
No,
for
not at
people.
all.
So she just really didn't have any idea what was going on, but she was very young. I think she just
Yeah.
and it was a learning experience for her, I'm very sure.
Oh, definitely. And instead
Yeah.
of just saying, I don't have the answers,
Yes.
it
I'm
was, I'm gonna guess.
gonna guess and tell you all these horrible things. And but before we left, every time she came in, she kind of just had more bad news. So me and my husband were like, you know what, let's
Wow.
just get out of here. Let's go home. I had a little boy who was 4 at the time. So we go home. Let's talk to him about what's going on with his sister, be together. That
Yes.
was the other thing because of COVID. If they would have accepted her at the hospital, only one parent could go. So me and my husband would have been separated. She would have been separated from her brother. Um, so I'm so thankful now that that did not happen.
Yes.
Um,
That's definitely amazing
yes, and the
because
hospital stay. Besides all of the unexpectedness of her diagnosis, everything else was pretty normal. She stayed in the room with us. I tried to nurse her. All the stuff you do when you have a baby with no differences.
that's so cool. How many days did they keep you in the hospital?
Only 2 days. We were in and out pretty quick,
Wow.
and especially with that with
Nice.
COVID too. They were trying to get everyone
Nice.
in and out as fast as possible.
Yes. That's awesome. So does she have a cleft at all?
She has a submucosal cleft that they discovered when they were intubating her during her first surgery. And the anesthesiologist is the one that told us about it. And she said, there's nothing to do about it at this point. And most likely the only thing that will do, it will affect her speech, which I already know that she's going to have some challenges with speech
Yeah.
that all the kids do for the most part. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Has she started speech therapy?
She has an appointment in September.
Oh, nice.
So we'll start that.
Nice.
She does physical therapy and occupational therapy.
Very cool. That's very, very cool. Um, so you guys have had, it sounds like you guys have had a much smoother journey.
It has been much smoother, and I'm very, very aware of that.
That's nice
I
because
think
yeah, there's a lot. I've been trying to kind of tell our story and then tell other stories. And I want to have the mix of both because I don't want it to be all gloom and doom
yes, absolutely,
and all challenges and that
absolutely.
I've been saying to people there is mild to severe.
There's a huge, huge spectrum.
Right.
Yes,
That's
she's definitely more on the mild end.
that's
Um,
amazing.
I know, and I feel very, very blessed for her to not have the breathing issues and all of that. That seems to be the most concerning
Yeah.
issue when the babies are born, and terrifying for the moms and dads.
Do you guys know if her nasal passages are completely open?
I believe they are because we haven't had any
Nice.
issues with that. And I
That's
know
good.
that's different too. A lot of them have to have
Yeah.
um, what is the wording? How do they word it? They go in and open it up. Can't think of the terminology.
They either do the trumpets
Which one?
or the stenting.
Okay, I'm thinking of the.
And Emma wasn't able to do either one of those because her nostrils on both sides from about midway up are completely fused.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we ended up having to get her a trach,
I knew she was.
but as soon as she has her mid phase, the trach will come out.
Okay, great. And is that
Thankfully.
scheduled already?
We're talking between ages 5 and 7.
Okay.
So the earliest she turns 4 next month.
Okay.
So the earliest would be next year.
Okay. So you still got time to prepare.
Yes, definitely. Most definitely. What are some of Presley's favorite things to do?
Eating is her favorite thing to do. She loves eating. She loves snuggling. She is the sweetest, most cuddly little girl. My older son was never, ever as cuddly as she is. She loves to watch um, music videos, little music cartoons about animals. She plays with dolls. She plays with all kinds of little toys. She is so happy
Oh,
and just brings so much joy to us. every second. It's wonderful.
That's awesome. Did she seem to have any problems with walking or the crawling? Was there any kind of delay?
For sure delayed. The crawling she actually did pretty early, but it was more of it's that little army crawl
Right.
on the ground, and then walking. She just started walking about a month ago, so a little bit of a delay, but I knew she was going to pick it up whenever she felt like it.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what happened.
Exactly. These I feel like APR kids, it's their time.
Exactly.
It's all on their time.
Exactly. And in physical therapy, they were really, really pushing me to get a gait trainer for her.
Yeah.
Like so that we could go out and do things. And I was like, I'll do it if she really needs it, but I really want to give her a little bit more of a chance to walk on her own. And so we met with physical therapy. We talked about getting the gait trainer. We made a decision that the next week we would get one. And that night she started walking. And I was like, oh man, that would be awesome if she would in the next week get it good enough to
Yes.
just walk to the physical therapist. And that's exactly what happened. It was adorable. They called her name back. I stood her up and she walked right over to
Walked
Kylie,
right
the
in.
physical therapist. She's like, oh my gosh.
That's amazing. We actually got the gait trainer. She
Mhm.
used it twice
And then she
and she
started
would
walking.
slouch the whole time. And then she started walking.
Well, Presley would slouch on it too, and they would have her do it at therapy.
Yes.
She works smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Figure out any
So
way to just
they would slouch and then move her little feet.
yes.
But yeah, and then she just decided no. So we ended up donating it
Oh,
to the physical therapy that got it for her.
oh, that's
So
wonderful.
yeah. Um, does she have any plans to start preschool
Yes,
anytime
and
soon?
we're gonna put her in a Mother's Day Out program 2 days a week, starting in the fall. The little church where my son went when he was a baby. She loves playing with other kids. I mean, it's any other kids that pay attention to her. She just gets so excited. So I know that she will love it, but I also really want other kids to be comfortable with her appearance. And the
Absolutely.
sooner that we get her into a program like that where she's around other kids, the sooner we can start that process. I know that will be a journey in
Absolutely.
itself. But
Yes.
if kids have known her since she was little, before they really understand that there's a lot of differences, I think that'll make a difference for her.
I definitely agree. With your therapist, I know in New Mexico, we have what's called the FIT program. And from birth until ages 3, the therapists come to your home and then they follow them, they get them enrolled into the school district and
Oh,
get
wow.
them set up with their therapies in the school district. Does Texas do anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that our school, the school district that we're in does have all the therapies available, but it's through the school district, so it's not really the same as what she's been doing. Because we've been
Right.
going to an outpatient clinic. That's nice that they come to your house.
Yes, it was convenient. It was definitely convenient, especially when we would have to go back and forth to Lubbock multiple times a week.
Oh yes. Oh
It was
man.
super nice.
Oh,
And
that's great.
then they helped with just getting her into the school system and getting her into the school system's pre-K. And so now she will be doing this past year when she was 3, she did pre-K 4 days a week for 3 hours a day. And next year it's going to be 5 days a week, full days.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
She likes it.
she loves it.
Okay, great.
She loves it. Now, if I could just get her older brother to like school that much, it would be perfect.
I'm in the exact same boat. My 5-year-old son is getting ready to start kindergarten and he's already not that interested.
Yeah, mine is 8, getting ready to be 9 and getting ready to go into 3rd grade, and he cannot stand it.
A lot more time, buddy. Sorry.
Exactly. I was like, you got a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm actually friends with the coordinator at the church that's in charge of doing the Mother's Day Out program. And she will probably be a very good resource for me to figure out
Absolutely.
how to navigate that path when we get into the elementary school and all of that.
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
that's available, but I really am not sure how we get into it yet.
And it definitely helps to have those resources, especially when you're setting up the IEP and all of
Mhm.
those types of things. It's definitely helpful to have that.
And that's why the social media groups, like our Apert Mom group, is so wonderful because I wouldn't even know about any of that stuff if I didn't have you guys
Yes,
that have
it is so helpful.
gone
It
the
has
journey.
been amazing. That was the first place that I looked was on Facebook. When Emma was born, I looked on Facebook because we didn't know that she had Apert syndrome either. So I got on Facebook and I looked for groups, and I don't remember which group it was that I joined, but Trisha was the first one that reached out to me,
Mhm.
and she was a godsend.
Oh my God.
She's absolutely amazing. And I don't know why. I need to reach out to her. I don't know why I don't have an interview scheduled with her yet. I need
Oh,
to
you better get one.
I need to get one with her.
Well, when I was so overwhelmed when we brought Presley home from the hospital. Um, I didn't know what to do. And I'll be very brutally honest. I cried for weeks. I cried almost all day, every day.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken, and just so many questions and so much. It took so much time to get all the answers, and I wanted them right then, of course.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't process a lot. My cousin, who is almost more like my sister than my cousin, she got on Instagram and looked up Apert syndrome hashtag, and she found Trisha. And so
Yes.
she called me and said, "I hope you're not mad that I did this, but I want to connect you with this lady." And oh my gosh, I looked her
Yeah.
up, and just seeing Amelia doing all these normal
All the
things
things.
with other kids and doing her
Yes.
hikes, and oh my gosh, she was life changing for me.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
get over it, Jessie, get it together, be a
Yes.
mom,
Because you
and
have
we're gonna
that
do this.
moment where you're devastated, and you're mourning the loss of your healthy baby, and saying, okay, now I'm going to have a medical, be medical mom. And then to see Amelia doing all the things, and to see the adults in our group that are just amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing, and it's uplifting, and it really does help to kind of turn that thought process around.
Yes. Yes, it's so overwhelming, and you really don't know if you'll ever do anything normal, quote unquote.
Exactly.
And you will.
Yeah, absolutely. What is a piece of advice that you would give to a new mom of someone with Apert syndrome?
Take a deep breath. Everything is going to be okay. Love your baby. Um, Depending on your circumstances, as normal as it can be for whatever those circumstances are. Um, I would just try and do everything like you normally would, and give yourself some grace, because the the feelings that the feelings that you
Hi.
have, oh buddy, the feelings that you have will change over time, and you will love that
Absolutely.
baby so much. Do you love your
Yes.
little sister with Apert syndrome?
Yeah. How old are you?
5.
You're 5?
Yeah.
He is the best
Wow.
big brother. He is such a good big brother.
Oh.
Okay, buddy, go
Are
out.
you a good big brother?
Are you a good big brother?
You the best big brother? Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Do you guys have any blogs or any websites that you've done?
We actually don't. I post a lot about her on my Facebook. Um, a lot about Apert syndrome in general, just to kind of maybe please. just to kind of share everything going on with our family and friends and followers that I have on there. So nothing specifically dedicated, but I would say the majority of my stuff is probably about her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any stories about your sister that you want to share?
What?
Do you want to share any stories about Presley?
Mom, I will look about the super hamster.
Okay. All right, buddy. Go
I
on.
can read
Please.
it.
Okay. He likes to read her books. That's what he's saying.
Oh,
He wants to read her books.
that's
But he is.
awesome.
He is such a good big brother. It's wonderful.
That's so cool. Is he your oldest?
He's my oldest. And then Peyton, please go out there. Please. Baby, please go. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're fine.
He has he's my oldest, and then Presley will be 2, and then we have an 8-month-old. That was unexpected. But it's fun. It's very fun.
I'm always curious about this. With your 8-month-old, did you have any fears about?
Yes. Yes. I was terrified my whole pregnancy, especially for it to, we actually had to do fertility to have Presley. So no problems with my oldest son. And then we could not have another baby. So had to do fertility for her. And my husband actually got a vasectomy. And 3 days later, we found out that I was pregnant. Our third.
Surprise.
That's a big surprise. But yes, it was, I really, after the first trimester especially, I was just a ball of nerves the whole time.
Yeah.
And so worried, and finally had to just give it to God, because I was like, I can't feel like this for this entire pregnancy.
Exactly.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy for my baby. I'm driving myself crazy, and it's all stuff that it's completely out of my control. So please take it.
Exactly.
And he did, and I was fine after that. But yes, I absolutely was very nervous. Not about Apert syndrome. I feel like there's, it's pretty unlikely you're going to get that again.
Right.
Just with anything. But everything was fine.
Nice.
Yeah, everything was great.
Is there any times that you've had to really advocate for Presley, as far as something that you felt that maybe wasn't necessary or maybe was necessary?
We have been really lucky not to have had anything like that come up yet. I feel like we have a lot of trust in her team. So if they tell us that she needs something, I'm usually gonna go ahead and go with it.
Yeah.
But I also am very aware that there may be a different story to that in the future for her. But yeah, as of now, we've been very lucky. Everything has worked out well. Dr. Fearon's approach is a little different than others. He's kind of a minimalist. He wants to do the smallest amount of surgeries that he can.
Yeah.
Which we appreciate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, we haven't had anything yet, but it's come up. So
that's good. Hopefully you won't have anything where you have to do that.
Yes.
What is the next surgery that's scheduled for her?
Next year, probably pretty early on in the year, I would say. It'll be January 5th will be 1 year from her last surgery. I wanted to give her at least a year off. And then they'll go in and deepen the web spaces in her fingers and replace her tube. And it's not, I honestly would probably push that off, but it's her thumb on her right hand. The thumb is the one that needs, and she uses her left hand for everything because she has that thumb. So, she reaches for stuff with her right hand. So I think she probably is right-handed.
Right.
Gets a thumb, she will use her right hand for everything. But having the thumb that needs to be separated again makes us probably expedite that surgery.
Right. And then as far as her mid-face, is there any talk about age range?
Dr. Fearon has said between ages 8 and 10,
Nice.
unless something changes and comes up as she grows. And I don't know if he'll still be practicing when it's time for her mid-face.
Oh, wow.
I think he might retire, but that's
Really?
why I try not to worry about that yet.
Wow. Hopefully that's not anytime soon.
I know. The last time I talked to him about it, he said, I'm still healthy and full of energy. I'll let you know when that changes. So,
Good. That's
okay.
good. That's a good sign because
Yes.
lots of people in the community will be very, very sad and
I
very,
know.
very worried. So
Absolutely.
that's good. All right. Do you have any other parts of your journey that you would like to share?
I think I really just want to try and be a light of positivity for any new moms that are going through this, and especially when you're not prepared. It's very hard. And being prepared is also hard because
Yeah.
when you find out beforehand and you start Googling and looking into stuff,
Yep.
a lot of times you're going to see the worst case scenario, which is not necessarily what's going to be your story.
Exactly.
So yeah, stay positive. I mean, I'm a prayer. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, and I still do all the time for her. But it will be okay. Everything will be okay.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking with me.
Absolutely. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it. It was
glad you're
very
doing
nice
this.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. I hope I'll talk with you soon.
Okay, me too.
All right. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.